Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Sports Dialogue podcast host, Paul Edwards.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sports Dialogue podcast. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, and I'm here today to discuss the NBA Finals, which begin tonight, where the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs will begin the final series. Before I get to the Knicks versus the Spurs series, just wanted to give congratulations to the New York Knicks for making it to the finals and to the San Antonio Spurs for making it to the finals. They both beat very good teams on the way to this point. But first, before I get started, as always, I'm going to play back for you what I said before the Game 7 of the San Antonio Spurs versus OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, Game 7. What I thought the keys for both teams were, and in particular, I did predict the Spurs to win, and just take a look back at what I said their keys were. So I think that if the Spurs can shoot 45% from the field, if they can shoot at least 35% from three-point line, Wimby gets 30-plus points. And again, De'Aaron Fox has to score in Game 7. I think it needs to be a 20-plus game for him in Game 7. I mean, he's very capable of it. And 5 other players, totally, other than Wimby, in double figures. I think you see the Spurs moving on. So I am predicting an upset in Game 7. The San Antonio Spurs will be a very, very, very deep, well-coached, talented Oklahoma City Thunder team and organization. Those are my thoughts.
The Thunder to another level. Something we haven't really seen through the first 6.
Castle working down low, again around the basket. Goes to the basket, open waiting. Wembanyama throws it on his head. From a little deep, what a box out by Carter Bryant. He and Holmgren go down. Wemby pulling from 3. Got it. Wembanyama's first 3 of the night. Wembanyama dishes it back, gets it back. Late in the shot clock, Wembanyama banks it in the high 40s. Spurs shooting 49%, Thunder 47 from the field. Wemby on the attack. He started outside the paint and throws it down.
No hesitation. He went right to the basket.
He gets inside. Wembanyama blocks it, secures the board. At the line, he's going to take the 3 and hit it. Wembanyama's second three-pointer. He's 20. Wembanyama's 22.
He's shooting one of these. You see his size up.
There it is. And there it is.
Oh, step back 3.
Okay, and then I'm going to play you some highlights of Game 7, in particular Wimby, and then I'll be back to discuss what I said in the New York Knicks. Okay, so you saw exactly what I said before Game 7, and you saw some of the highlights of Game 7. So let's take a look at what I said, that the Spurs needed to get 6 players in double figures, 5 other than Wimby. So they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in double figures. And I said that they needed to shoot 45% from field goals percentage. And they actually shot 46.6%. They meaning the Spurs. I also said the Spurs needed to shoot at least 35% from three-point range, and they shot 36.6%. So they hit the players in double figures, actually exceeded that. And I think they had 7. It's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in double figures. And I thought that Wimby needed to score 30. I was a little off. He scored 22. And I felt, though De'Aaron Fox had to make a greater offensive contribution, I felt that he needed 20. He had 16. So for the most part, the Spurs hit the marks that I set out and exceeded them. And it's not surprising to me that they won. So congratulations to OKC. I know that they didn't advance, but again, they're no losers. They got to the finals. They were champions in the previous season, and they got back to the finals. That's a lot to be proud of OKC. Okay, so let's take a look forward to the New York Knicks versus the Spurs. I think that I'm just going to kind of match up a little bit. I'm not coaching, so I don't know what the player matchups are going to be. So I'm just going to speculate a little bit. I think you'll see Brunson and De'Aaron Fox matching up against each other. So who do I give the edge to there? Both very talented ball players. I think Fox is a very good player. There's no question about it. I don't think we've seen the best of him offensively yet in the playoffs, and which is, I'm a Knicks fan, so that's not good. But I will give the edge to Jalen Brunson in that matchup. The next matchup, so that's one edge for New York, in my opinion. The next matchup would be Wimby and Cat. So if you look offensively, Wimby can shoot the deep three. Cat can shoot the deep three. Wimby can drive the ball to the basket. Cat can drive the ball to the basket. Wimby is, he's got guard skills at his height, and he can facilitate when necessary. And you can see Cat could facilitate when necessary. Although I do believe Cat should drive the ball and drop the three. So they're pretty evenly matched. So we look offensively. So we look defensively at those two players. I think Wimby, at his height and his ability to jump, would say has the edge in shot blocking. There's no question about that. Cat's on the boards also. So, I would say that I'll give that one even. It sounds surprising that Wimby won a lot of awards, but I would say that matchup is even. So I got one advantage to the Knicks, one even. Then I think you'll probably see OG on Vassell. And I think that offensively, they can both shoot the ball. There's no question about it. Vassell hits really timely shots, and he hustles to the boards. There's no question about that. OG, as you know, and this is assuming that he's 100%, because I know he's coming off of that hamstring injury. Thank God for the rest that the Knicks have had. So hopefully he'll be 100%. We know that OG can shoot the three, and he's very unselfish. He's timely with his shots. He can facilitate. He definitely can block shots and on the boards. So I would give that, and he's more experienced than Vassell. But Vassell is a very, very, very good player. He was a big reason why they won. But I think that I would give that edge to OG. So we have Brunson with an edge, OG with a edge, and Wimby and Cat are even. So that's 2-1. So we have two other positions. I would think I would play Hart. I would definitely say that I would put Hart on Castle because Castle's a very explosive player. And Hart, he's got a big heart. There's no question about that. He can defend, he can rebound, he hustles, he can ignite a team without scoring. And Castle is a very good scorer. Not sure what his percentage is from three, but I know he can make them. He can go to the ball and flush it on you if he has to. Go to the rim rather and flush it. But flush it meaning dunk it, and dunk it in very prolific fashion. So Castle is a very good ball player. There's no question about that. But I think that I would give that definitely Hart has the defensive edge. Hart can score also. He scored 26 points in one game in Cleveland. But, I would probably give the offensive edge shooting wise to Castle, because he's a little bit more consistent on the jump shot. I mean, Hart can drive the ball. Hart's one of my favorite players. He can drive the ball, as I say, can rebound. So I'd give that one even. I would have given it to Hart because there's some up and down in the shooting, 26 points, one game, which is really, really good. And then a little bit of a drop off. So, I'm tempted to give the edge to Hart, but I'm fair. So I would say that one is even. But Hart definitely with hustle, defense, rebounding, igniting a team has the edge. But overall, I would say that matchup, and Hart has the experience. So that matchup may be even. So we look at the final matchup. So far I have two evens and two advantages to the Knicks. Then we have Champagnie, and I would put Mr. Bridges on Champagnie. And I think Champagnie is a very good scorer. There's absolutely no question about it. He hustles, ex-St. John's guy, Castle's ex-UConn, so that's Big East in the house. But Bridges, you got Bridges, Brunson, and Hart from Villanova. So Big East is really in the house. So I would say, though, in my opinion, I would give that edge to Bridges because he's really a prolific scorer. Champagnie's a good scorer, but when he gets going, Bridges, he can really get going. He can, as I always said, he's a 20-point guy, and on a good night, he can drop 35, 40. And I'm still looking for that. And Bridges, surprisingly, to some people, because not to me, they don't talk about it very much. He's a pretty good defensive player. So I would give that edge to Bridges. So we're talking the edge in Brunson, the edge in OG, the edge in Bridges, and even with Wimby and Cat and Hart and Castle. As far as the benches, they both go 5 deep in the bench, at least 5 deep. And the Knicks are capable of going further, and so is San Antonio. They have a couple of guys on the bench after 10, guys that can come in. I can see they can score. So I think though the best bench player in terms of a scorer for the Spurs is Harper. He's a really good scorer. He's dangerous. He's young, but he's very dangerous. Quinnett coming in off the bench gives him good minutes, but I think Mitchell Robinson has that edge. He's a very good rim protector. And our other 4 bench players other than Mitchell, which is Shamet and Deuce and Alvarado and Clarkson, those guys come in, they play tough defense, first off. But they come in looking to score. And they're also looking to get the lob to Robinson. So they're very unselfish. But again, now you look at the Spurs, they have, as I said, they have a number. Harper coming off the bench, Quinnett coming off the bench. You got Johnson coming off the bench, Harrison Barnes, Carter Bryant. So they have capable players. So I would give the bench edge to the Knicks, but it's close. San Antonio has capable players. So that's the way I see it. I don't see any matchup on paper that's just one way. I gave you my opinions on the matchups, but it all depends. What matters is what they do in this series, each team. And we'll see tonight. And I won't give you any predictions, although I'll be rooting for the Knicks. I'll take a look at game 1, and then I'll be back in another episode to discuss what I think will happen in game 2. So as always, I have a book release coming soon. Going to play for you a little promo for the book release. Encourage everyone to exercise as usual. Stay prayed up, stay in prayer, and try to get your exercise in with your doctor's approval. God bless you. Hope all is well, and we'll see you on the next episode. God bless. Thank you.
The Truth Plan shows us how to help to eliminate the inequities in affordable housing, unemployment, healthcare, education, the media, small businesses, access to capital, and much more. The Truth Plan also shows us how the elimination of these inequities also benefits the higher income community. The goals and objectives for equity are crucial in addressing the disparities that exist in our society. A primary focus must be on eliminating the racial, wealth, and equity gaps that disproportionately affect low-income and minority communities. This involves a comprehensive approach that includes ensuring access to affordable housing, improving employment opportunities, and enhancing healthcare access for underrepresented groups. By prioritizing these areas, we can create a more equitable foundation for all individuals, regardless of their background or economic status.
The Truth Plan is a self-help plan to eliminate the racial, wealth, and equity gap that exists between the low-income, the middle-income, the Black and brown communities, and the higher-income communities. The Truth Plan believes that all communities should prosper. The success of the Truth Plan will help to eliminate the inequities between the aforementioned communities in the areas of affordable housing, unemployment, healthcare, education, the media, small businesses, access to capital, and more. The higher income communities will also benefit. Prosperity for all. Never settle for less.